With the launch of its all-electric E-Class entrant, the 2023 E-Class, Mercedes has the Tesla Model S squarely in its sights. The self-proclaimed inventors of the combustion-powered car C1886 Benz Patent-Motorwagen felt no compunction to emulate any of the characteristics that helped the Model S popularize electric cars on a global scale, and which led to Tesla outselling Mercedes by 17,147 cars in 2021 to become the number 3 luxury brand in the US. There's no frunk in the EQ, no Ikea minimalist interior, no record-setting acceleration or range figures, no rainbow road or fart noise Easter eggs. Rather, the 2023 Mercedes-Benz E-Class simply aims to be the Mercedes-Benz of premium E-segment electric sedans. Should the Teslarati or those considering an Audi E-Tron, BMW i4, Lucid Air, or Porsche Taycan hold out for a Mercedes E-Class? The 2023 Mercedes EQ will launch in 350+ guys. The plus is meant to suggest long range, and indeed, the rear-drive 350+ with the skinnier 19-inch tires will undoubtedly travel the farthest on its 90.6 kWh battery, but no smaller battery options are planned. The hypermilers at Europe's WLTP say it's good for 660 kilometers, which we're betting will translate to something like 330 more realistic EPA miles. Mercedes says this 288 horsepower, 391 pound-foot rear-drive variant wafts to 60 miles per hour in a dignified 5.6 seconds. That's a half-second plus quicker than a Chevy Bolt, with which it shares its weight-to-power ratio. The 402 horsepower 633 pound-foot dual-motor EQE-500 scheduled to follow the 350+ to market before the end of 2022 drops that pounds per horsepower figure to base Ford Mustang Mach-E 4X levels. As such, it feels considerably quicker, but it still won't pin your head back and blur the scenery. Ludicrous acceleration is more the purview of the AMG team, which is readying an EQE-53 that'll churn out 617 to 677 horsepower and 701 to 738 pounds-foot of torque. Up in the hilly Hessian countryside just outside Frankfurt, the 2023 Mercedes EQE-350+ comported itself with the poise we've come to expect from modern air-suspended big battery E-sedans featuring low centers of gravity, confidently, with very little body roll, and even less steering feel. Fortunately, what the helm lacks in road feel it largely compensates for in precision. The two-motor EQE-500's front motor helped yank it out of the corners more smartly, though the 255/40R20 tires on our base 350+ and 500 seemed to give up their grip a bit earlier than expected. We then sampled a 350+ first edition fitted with the staggered 21s and 255/35 front, 285/30 rear that hung on with noticeably better grip, obviously at some cost to range. Note that all were branded Pirelli P0 MOS. Our biggest gripe with these X-sedans continues to be the weird brake pedal, which moves on its own during regenerative braking. When moving from accelerator to brake, drivers often find the pedal already in motion. This feels unnatural, and although the brakes worked great and the pedal remained firm, a hard run down a mountain had them smelling pretty cooked at the bottom. Bottom line, most of the listed competitors feel more lithe, as the EQE-53 AMG undoubtedly will. Would-be Mandalorian spaceship pilots have 3 synthesized powertrain noise profiles to choose from: Vivid Flux, Silver Waves, and Roaring Pulse, most of which struck the assembled journalist core as silly. Dedicated EQ infotainment screens let the driver monitor consumption history, locate charging stations along a programmed route, opt to extend range by curtailing individual interior and climate functions, or by activating eco-drive functions and programmed charging times and limits. As we've noted in our first look and first ride reviews, the EQ can accept 170 kW DC fast charging, which can fill a third of the battery in 15 minutes thanks to refrigerant cooling of the battery. Using the Mercedes Me Charge Green charging network 60,000 US chargers, drivers can plug and charge, free for 2 years, without further authentication, knowing Mercedes will offset every kilowatt-hours with green energy. The one-bow jelly bean design is shared by the EQ, and X pays off an impressive aerodynamic drag coefficient 0.20 for the X, 0.22 for the shorter-tailed EQ, but results in a high cowl that heightens these cars' feeling of heft and substance. The interior execution is also uniquely Mercedes-Benz, vastly more opulent than any Tesla, and more carefully crafted than early Lucids we've experienced. That higher one-bow roof and a trunk that eliminates the X-hatchback's overhead hinges delivers reasonable rear headroom in a seat positioned at a comfortable height above the floor, unlike in semi-sedans like Lucid Air models with the biggest battery and the Tesla Model 3. Oh, and you could manufacture semiconductors in the clean air afforded by the 600 cubic inch HEPA filter that consumes the space that might otherwise be a frunk.